Exterritorial ending explained. Who kidnapped Sara's son, and is he real? The ending of Netflix's hit bilingual action thriller Exterritorial reveals the truth about Sara's missing son, Josh, and those behind his kidnapping at the U.S. consulate in Frankfurt, Germany. After Jean Gorsod's Sara arrives at the U.S. consulate to apply for a work visa, she briefly drops her son off in a playroom equipped with a PlayStation due to long waiting times. When Sara returns, her son Josh, played by Rickson Kai da Silva, is completely missing. When she alerts the authorities at the consulate, she encounters Eric Kinch, who assures her that Josh was never there. Similar to Jodie Foster's character in the classic thriller Flight Plan, Sara must get to the bottom of a conspiracy that began with the kidnapping of her child. Even though Kinch tries to gaslight Sara and use her PTSD diagnosis against her to make her look delusional, it is revealed by the end of Exterritorial that taking Josh from Sara was only the first step of his elaborate plan that ultimately used Sara as a scapegoat. Kinch also had a direct connection to the worst day of Sara's life in Afghanistan, when she and 8 other soldiers were ambushed by the Taliban, resulting in the death of Sara's husband and Josh's father. During his climactic villain monologue at the end of Exterritorial, Kinch tells all to Sara, thinking that he can't be heard by his colleagues waiting outside the safe room where Sara had trapped herself with Kinch's young daughter. After Sara let Kinch's daughter go before the safe room ran out of oxygen, Kinch seals himself in the safe room momentarily to explain the elaborate setup involving Sara and her young son, Josh. Kinch reveals that he, along with Sergeant Donovan, had kidnapped Josh and erased all trace that he had arrived with Sara in order to make Sara look crazed. With Sara's history of PTSD, Kinch knew he would be able to frame her completely rational outburst as a mental health episode. Knowing that Sara was a fighter and would never give up, he planned for Sara to go rogue in the consulate, which triggered the code red shoot-on-sight protocol. Making Sara a target would achieve 2 primary objectives. Firstly, it would neutralize Sara, who was the last soldier alive during an ambush in Afghanistan that Kinch had made happen by giving intel to the Taliban to spite the U.S. military. Secondly, with Sara as a major distraction, he would finally have been able to kill and dispose of Kira, whom he was holding hostage. Kira, the daughter of a well-known yet corrupt German businessman who was assassinated, has evidence that her father was murdered on a flash drive. Kinch kidnaps Josh and uses Sara as a distraction so that he can have Kira captured and killed, which explains the scene in which 2 assassins attack Kira in her guest apartment. After that plan fails, Sara helps Kira escape, telling her to fly to Mexico and enter the United States from the southern border so she can reunite with her mother. This proves to work out successfully as Sara FaceTimes Kira at the end of the movie. The 2 friends plan to meet again on American soil. Sergeant Donovan is Kinch's loyal henchman who follows orders without question. It's not exactly clear what stakes Donovan had in Kinch's scheme other than helping him in order to keep his job, even though he knew Kinch was up to no good. Donovan's biggest contribution to Kinch's plan was setting up Sara's work interview in the United States, which searched for ex-soldiers who wanted a fresh start. Apparently, Sara never contacted the interviewer directly and discovered that Donovan had sent the initial email to vouch for Sara's candidacy. The job prospect was the bait that brought Sara into the U.S. consulate in the first place. Kinch thought he could try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone by setting Sara up and taking out Kira in the process. Kinch knew that Sara was on psychiatric medication and often had flashbacks of that tragic scene in which she was ambushed and lost her fellow soldiers, including her husband. Kinch gaslighted Sara into thinking she was having a psychotic break and that she hadn't actually arrived with Josh that day.